Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Mirna Marovic on the line, and she is Managing Director of Investor and Private Capital Advisor over at Venture Exchange Ltd. And this episode is part of our Super Return Berlin edition and series where we bring you the best of those that attended and participated at Super Return that took place in Berlin. Mirna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Adam, on Mission Matters. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so lots to talk about today. I do want to get into what you're doing over at Venture Exchange and also talk about asset allocation and fundraising across European private markets in general. But before we get into that, let's talk about Super Return Berlin. So tell me, have you been in the past? Is this your first time? Tell me about the experience.
No, actually, I've been going to Super Return Berlin, believe it or not, since 2007. So I have been going
You have
there
the record. Hold
for,
on, Mirna. Wait a minute. You have the new record. I think the last record was 7 years of somebody I had on the show. Good job. You win. I don't know what your prize is, but you won. Continue, please. That's
yes.
amazing.
And I have been a speaker and a partner of the event since 2007. So
Mm,
it was the last attend event prior to COVID. I think it was still back in times, February 2020. I think they skipped 1 year and then it was back in June 2022. And it got really way, way bigger. So prior
mm.
to COVID, you had maybe 1,500 participants at the most. But after COVID, it went insane. So now you
Wow.
have a week of official participation, 5,000 people at Super Return International, 1,500 at Super Return Venture, and plus you have approximately the same number of people flocking in to all of the side events. And for the side events, you actually need to have a cheat sheet. There are like 40 different events. I do get invited to many of them as a veteran. So it's a fun week, but tiring week. And honestly, I always say
Mm.
myself, this is probably going to be my last Berlin. But and then again, I come every year.
And then the invites coming in and they suck you right back in, huh?
Yes, yes, they do. I mean, it's just an opportunity to see most of the
Yeah.
people that are globally in private capital markets in one place, in one city, have a lots of valuable meetings. It's a bit
Mm.
tiring, but I attend those events with a lot of pleasure because I am
Mm.
not a GP. I'm not fundraising. If any, I would be on the investor side, but I am very relaxed, and some other people are being, you know,
Mm.
trying
Hmm.
to get as much from it.
Yeah. I'm curious, since you've been attending for so long, I mean, you've seen the growth. What do you think is what's kind of like the, I don't know, the secret sauce or like what makes it so special to where it's growing? Because people won't go if they're not, nobody wants to waste their time, right? Like what makes this so special? Why do people keep showing up?
Yes, I was thinking about it. I think it's just the brand, the place,
Mm.
and it became just sometimes you have I think that Informa Connect created something really valuable. They do take profit, but also do many side events that take part in Berlin that week. It's just the
Mm.
place that everybody in private capital markets has to be and has to be seen. So most important firms get there. But likely, because it's so tiring, people value a little bit deeper connection, a little bit less
Mm.
aggressive space. So some other events that I also help to curate, like an LPGP networking event in Dubrovnik, an exclusive variant, non-commercial, non-for-profit. This is something that people may value most, but cannot compare to Super Return Berlin.
Mm. That's amazing. I want to switch up the focus here slightly. Maybe tell us a little bit more about Venture Exchange and what you do there.
Right. So I am already quite senior. This is just the name of my boutique company. I am doing two things in a nutshell. I've been working in financial industry for almost 35 years,
Mm.
including investment banking for a decade, and then the rest of the time in private capital markets. Right now, I'm a key and advisor for many European institutions, such as European Investment Fund, European Investment Bank, and European
Mm.
Commission on certain market development projects where I'm trying to steer Europe in the right direction,
Hmm.
sometimes to catch up with the rest of the world. And on the private side, I'm also an investor in early stage to later stage innovative companies, as well as an LP in three VC funds.
Hmm.
I also have a little bit of focus on sustainability, very passionate about it. So we run a sustainability advisory with private equity community. And I curate some events during the year that are quite exclusive in character.
Hmm. Let's go back in time a bit here. How'd you get into this business? I'm curious. I know you said you've been doing it for decades now, but how'd you get into this? Like, was it always an interest, like finance or capital markets, or like, where'd that start for you?
Yeah, so I think I started very early. I started immediately after finishing university, London School of
Oh,
Economics.
wow.
I
So
was
you
re
fell right into it, like right after
I
college, yeah?
felt I felt right into it, being in London, being close to the
Mm.
city, and with a fluency of six languages,
Oh,
I was
wow.
actually offered immediately a really hands-on job in an emerging markets team. And that time, we're talking late 90s, this was the place to be. My
Mm.
life back then was like, as if you can imagine this movie, Wall Street, but just take away a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but think about finance
I was wondering
only.
where you
And
were going with that one, Mirna. I don't know. No, go
yeah, so
ahead.
it was very special. It was very special, but
Wow.
something that you obviously have to do when you were young. And I was based out of London, but I also worked
Hmm.
later for an American firm. So it was between London and New York, if you want. And it was really special time, and I really loved it.
Mm.
And a natural step after being an investment banker professional, I moved to the private capital markets.
Hmm.
And it was a strategic choice. And I've been in finance all my life, basically.
Mm. I'm curious when it comes to like fundraising across European private markets. You've seen some, I mean, you've been doing it for a bit now. What kind of evolution or what's changed over time to bring us to maybe present day?
Yeah, so I think that when we look at today, fundraising is really, really hard. Private capital markets were really very popular back in COVID area. It was sort of a wave of fundraising, but ever since October 2022, things have been
Hmm.
going not as great. And right now, I think the market is really at an inflection point because there is really no liquidity. People can talk about whatever the returns they want, but liquidity is really hard. It's measured by distribution of paid-in capital, or DPI, and that
Mm.
is not telling the story investors want to hear. They've been reinventing the wheel, like trying to get people to stay locked without getting the liquidity back, without getting the
Hmm.
returns back for many, many years. And the private markets really are seeking for that liquidity. And the interest rates environment has not been favorable. The geopolitics has not been favorable. And it is a fight to safe haven, a fight to safe assets. And private markets, by their very nature, are really the ones that take all the risk. And so in Europe, it's even worse than in the US because we have a really fragmented market. So you need to solve a lot of problems, information
Hmm.
symmetry, capital efficiency, and everything in private markets is also relationship driven. So you need to build the trust. And so it is really hard to get to the quality fund managers, especially
Hmm.
the managers that do not have established franchise. For them to fundraise, it's nearly impossible. And some sub asset classes in private markets have been more penalized than the others. I think actually it is a little bit not fair that venture capital has been penalized when it is providing the financing
Mm.
to all of these innovative things that we are seeing. And we live in an exponentially changing world. And venture capital is behind all these AI success stories. But
Right.
at the end of the day, unless you have a venture capital firm that is truly established, it's almost impossible to fundraise.
Hmm. How do you feel like, and I don't know if it has to do with LPGP connectivity or I don't know exactly what it has to do with, but how do you feel that maybe the situation can be improved, like this concept of improving fundraising?
I think a couple of things. Investors are very frequently focused on the track record. But in
Hmm.
fact, I am also an academic citizen, and I can tell you that the track record is often flawed. Why? Because a typical fund manager is going to fundraise in the middle of his investment cycle. So in sort of year 2 or 3 or even 5 of the
Hmm.
investment cycle. And we do have a hardcore statistical data that tells us that intermediate track record tells you nothing about the final performance. And unfortunately, there is this myth about the persistence in private equity and venture capital performance. And some of the research has shown that in private equity or buyout funds, the persistence is no longer there after 2000. And with venture capital, it's so less obvious in the intermediate fundraising. There is some persistence, but not the ones that you want to hear. So I think that emerging fund managers definitely stand a chance. And if you think a little bit about it, like really well-known names like Sequoia and alike have once
Hmm.
been in the room of emerging fund managers. On average, they are giving a chance. I think what you really need to establish is a process, is a system that delivers return. And if you can do that repeatedly and you have an institutional process in the house
Mm.
and you have a really strong team and strong execution, then you can convince investors. But it's all about a little bit about the privilege access to capital. So like
Mm.
from I'm an investor, and I'm so fortunate that I get invited to participate in some of the most amazing deals also via some of my network that had been
Mm.
established. So, and this is like almost all of the interesting opportunities get always oversubscribed. And then so the ones that are there, it's really hard sell.
Mm. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of people competing for kind of like the deals that they feel are going to be I get it, oversubscribed. It makes total sense. And if you don't have access or if you haven't been doing this for as long, then you don't have that opportunity. So just to kind of timestamp this. So we're July 14th, 2026. I'm curious on your end, Mirna, like what are you looking at? Like what excites you right now in the market and what you're seeing?
Yeah, so it's really difficult to say. So I actually signed one transaction today. It's very, and
Really?
I'm going to invest.
Congratulations. Congrats.
Yeah, but
Okay. Do you know that hold on, I gotta
it's
tell you something real quick, Mira. You're the second person today that has told me that. And I'm like, and it was another super return. And I'm like, I think the Mission Matters podcast might be good luck here, Mira. Now, I don't know. No, continue. I'm just playing.
Yeah, so this one is a Silicon Valley startup, and I'm
Mm,
very, very keen on supporting two female founders that are into
wow.
the AI accelerated marketing. And then there is another investment that I'm going to make in the AI cell, also Silicon Valley based AI cell therapy advanced platform. And I spent a fair amount of time traveling the world, including being in Silicon Valley, just to make
Mm,
sure that I can source the best opportunities. But
mm-hmm,
so these are the things that really excite me to be able to support, especially female founders. And that relates very closely with the work that I do for European Investment Fund flagship program called
mm-hmm.
Empowering Equity, trying to promote women into the senior positions across the private capital market roles. And if you think a little bit about it, unfortunately, the women are a neglected minority, not only on the investee or portfolio company side, but also on the side of the fund manager and also on the side of the LP. So I try to kind of cover for this investment side a little bit and try to promote it. And it has been shown. I have a really good friend of mine, a professor at prestigious school, who has done some research showing that while having women on board serves like risk mitigator and increases the returns. So that's a woman power thing.
Amazing. I love it. This is a great story and one that I'm happy to bring to my audience. This is wonderful. Mirna, this has been wonderful having you on the show today and learning more about the work that you're doing and your experience, of course, in finance. I mean, and what you've seen and brought to the market. So awesome having you on. If somebody wants to follow your journey or learn more, how do they connect?
Yeah, I think the best thing is that they can connect with me via most social media, but I suggest LinkedIn as being the most professional.
Mhm.
And then, as your journey is a little bit about investing in private capital markets, I do invite them to take a look at the LPGP networking event. It's easily found. There is a website called lpgpnetworking.com, and this is an event that I'm curating in my home country, in Dubrovnik, Croatia. Really an exclusive event, and if they want to find more about it, they can request an invitation. It's an invitation-only event.
Fantastic. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so that you can connect with Mirna and her team. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. You heard me correct. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So hit that subscribe or follow button. And Mirna, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.